the Seaview. No, not an old folks' home on the coast, but a fictional, futuristic submarine. The submarine of the 1961 American film Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and the submarine of the 1964 to 1968 television series Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. And in this video we will take a look at her. The film and the series were produced by Irwin Allen, that master of disaster, whose credits include The Land of the Giants, Lost in Space, and The Time Tunnel, a series I have never forgiven for its dreadful Titanic episode. In many ways, the Seaview is an artifact of a particular mindset in popular science fiction. She represented science as heroic endeavour, and the scientist as an instrument for good. The film and the series represented the scientific optimism of the early 1960s. 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl had yet to panic the people of the world. Nuclear energy was good, and the future was bright and scientific, and there were werewolves. Because werewolves are all part of the job for the submariners of the United States Navy. But let's take a look at this submarine of the future. And if you like this video, press the like button. Share news of it on social media, the video, not the like button, because sharing news of a like button would be rather odd, and subscribe to this channel. And if you don't like this video, press the like button anyway. It will confuse your enemies. Inside the very fictional world of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the Seaview was designed by Admiral Harriman Nelson, a genius scientist who was, rather unfortunately for the Seaview's captain, always aboard his miraculous creation. He was played by Walter Pidgeon in the film and Richard Basehart in the television series. Launched in-universe in the early 1970s, the Seaview was a military platform and a research ship rolled into one. She had a prefix of USOS, United States Oceanographic Survey, at least in the film. In the series, she was more commonly referred to as SSRN, Submarine Research Nuclear, as opposed to SSBN, Submarine Ballistic Nuclear. She had 16 missile hatches for ballistic missiles, although she operated rather more like a loud and proud surface ship than a secretive nuclear nemesis. The Seaview was capable of extraordinary speed and endurance. She used some sort of pump jet propulsion system instead of screws, and she could dive deeper than any submarine her size ever had a right to. 3,600 feet, or a full kilometer, and at times she could go deeper. Comparable 1960s submarines could only manage 1,000 to 1,500. The Seaview came with remarkably roomy interiors, including oceanographic laboratories, and she had sophisticated sensors and sonar, a diving bell, and later in the television series, a flying sub. And as for weapons, she carried torpedoes and ballistic missiles, as well as interceptor missiles against air attack, a laser built into the forward search lamp from the second season onwards at least, some sort of ultrasonic weapon, and the ability to electrify the hull. In the real world, she was designed by art director L.B. Abbott, and her look was eye-catching. Rear fins like a Cadillac, a bulbous bow, great manta ray-like bow stabilizers, and windows. The inclusion of windows made for more dramatic scenes. There were 2 versions of the Seaview, and it is not difficult to discern the differences. The movie version, which was also used in the first season of the television series, had 8 windows, 4 on 2 decks, as well as a protrusion forward of the conning tower. This may have been for the sonar. I say sonar as the second version of the Seaview, seen from the second season onwards, removed this protrusion and replaced it with a pair of protrusions further forward, port and starboard. This second version of the Seaview also had only 4 windows on one deck. These windows were moved further up, so the observation room itself and the command deck must have been moved upwards. The question is, was this second version of the Seaview the same size as the first? Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was an Irwin Allen series, and as much fun as his television projects were, they tended to be a bit inventive with reality. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea was no different. For example, the Seaview would run on the surface, apparently weighing nothing, as more of her bulk was above the waterline than below. This is not how submarines tend to operate, although perhaps those bow stabilizers acted as hydrofoils. The Seaview would also ping away with her active sonar, which no respectable military submariner would ever do, especially on a missile boat, and the Seaview was certainly a missile boat. Perhaps Admiral Nelson and Captain Crane were giving their adversary a sporting chance. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and later Sequest DSV, suffered from what outer space-based television series could do so well. Aliens, monsters, high strangeness. Yes, you could do all this and more in outer space. You could even have the Enterprise stopped by a giant green hand and not seem utterly ludicrous, right? But the oceans of the world limited the range of adventures a military submarine could have without becoming repetitive or eccentric, even in what, from the point of view of the 1960s, was the futuristic 1970s. And yet, the Seaview does look rather awesome. Perhaps we're assessing her too literally. Perhaps we should judge her through a mythical lens, as an expression of a generation's optimistic attitude towards science and progress, and the idea that technology, when it is guided by moral people, can save mankind. Personally, I like the second version of the Seaview best, even if her internal layout doesn't make much sense. But perhaps we will look at that in a future video. For now, I thank you for watching and hope you liked the video, or at least didn't hate it.